Are we live? It looks like we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Asylum. I'm your host, Gabriel. I hope everyone is having an incredible day. And today is Sunday, and we are taking a break from all wrestling. Today, we're not talking about WWE. Today, we are not talking about AEW. We are not talking about anything wrestling related today. Matter of fact, today we're going to talk about we're going to talk about superheroes in general and superhero movies, specifically one specific superhero movie that is without a doubt personally one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. Now, before we go over this, before I even became like a big wrestling fan, before I even became a sucker for professional wrestling, ever since I grew up, I love superheroes. Most notably Marvel. I was a Marvel geek. Even before like the MCU was the thing, I loved Marvel. Like I am such a geek for Marvel. Like literally one of my favorite places to go in the entire world is Marvel Superhero Island at Universal Studios. I used to go there like every time on my birthday when I was a kid because like it was like heaven to me. Like I love Marvel Superhero Island. I'm such a geek for Marvel. But I also like DC too. I'm not crazy. I don't crazy like DC like I do with Marvel, but I do like DC from time to time. I'll always be a Marvel guy, but I do appreciate the works and the heroes and all the shows and all the movies that DC had to offer, specifically the movie that I'm about to say today. Now, Batman, one of the greatest superheroes, with one of the greatest superheroes of all time. Literally everyone in the world knows him or is familiar with him. He's not just one of the best, like he's not just one of the best superheroes, but he's one of the most well-known superheroes. Like he is known by many in pop culture. Everyone knows who Batman is. Everyone knows like what his origin is. He's that iconic. Now, people over the years have been given debates on what is the greatest Batman movie of all time. Many people would say The Dark Knight, which it's a good movie. It's a good movie. I like it, but it's but and some people might say Batman 1989 with Michael Keaton, which also great too. I like The Dark Knight and Batman 1989. Other people might say the Adam West movie because they had like a old Adam West movie for Batman. Some people might say Batman Forever. Some people might say the Lego Batman movie, but then again, that's just kids. And some psychopaths might even say Batman and Robin. And I shit you not, there's actual people that like Batman and Robin. Like, I don't know, it confuses me as well. But not this movie that I'm about to explain today has been overlooked many, many times. And it shouldn't be in the shadows anymore. This movie needs to be talked about by many because this movie is not just one of the greatest Batman, like this is not just one of the greatest superhero movies of all time, but without a doubt, in my personal opinion, the greatest Batman movie of all time. And more people, and like every year, more people are talking about this and talking about this and talking about how this is the greatest Batman movie of all time. And it is completely justified. Is that good? And I'm going to go over the reasons why this is the greatest Batman film of all time, at least in my opinion. And for some of you that might be saying, like, okay, yeah, maybe Batman Match of the Phantasm is an animated movie. Like, how can an animated movie be good? Okay. Trust me, you'd be surprised. Okay, now Batman the Animated Series. Of course, Batman the Animated Series is without a doubt one of the greatest TV shows of all time. If Batman the Animated Series was both for kids and for adults, and without a doubt had some of the best storytelling, some of the best actions you have ever seen in TV. Okay, and keep in mind, back in the day, an episode was like at least 20, 25 minutes. Like they managed to do a lot of great storytelling in 20, 25 minutes. And yet some shows today are struggling to even produce a good story. Like at like an hour mark. Like Batman the animated series will go down as one of the greatest TV shows of all time. And obviously, Batman Mask of the Phantasm is a movie based on the animated series. Now, this was an actual movie and it was played in theaters. It was played in theaters. Now, with an incredible movie like this, it didn't exactly succeed in the movie theaters per se, because back in the day when this movie was came out, it was being like advertised as a kids film, because that, like, even though many kids and many adults love Batman the animated series, people, like, when they saw the trailer for Batman Mask of the Phantasm, they thought it was just another episode of Batman the animated series, and they, of course, they thought it was nothing important. And it didn't help that Warner Brothers actually advertise Batman Mask of the Phantasm this way, because you can look at the trailers on YouTube. You can see that just looking at the trailer alone, you would think that they're advertising another episode of Batman the Animated Series, which is nothing wrong with that. Batman the Animated Series is such an incredible show, but even then, but this movie is but anything but. Like this is such an incredible movie, and enough of me rambling. I'm here to give my explanation on why this is the greatest Batman film of all time. So let's start off with the story. Of course, with the story, we all know Batman, right? We all know Batman's origins, right? Bruce Wayne with his family ran across an alley after they saw a movie. A robber comes in and kills Thomas and Martha Wayne. Of course, Bruce Wayne was scarred for life and he went to train and eventually became Batman. Now, with every Batman movie that we've seen, like The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Batman 1989, Batman Returns, the Adam West film, like it really, like most of them show that is Batman overcoming his demons and like all that jazz, which is done really well. That's why some people consider The Dark Knight or Batman 1989 as great films. But with Batman Mask of the Phantasm, out of all the Batman movies, they do something completely different. A completely different story, a complete 180 turn. Because in this movie, instead of like Batman showing, like Batman overcoming his demons and stuff like that, taking out the bad guy, what if Bruce Wayne found love? What if Bruce Wayne found happiness? And oh my God, just the sound of me saying that gives me goosebumps. Because here's the thing about Batman. Batman, like, is a character that has been traumatized, has been scarred for life. Is not He's not a type of person to find love and happiness, because again, like, he's always distant from others unless you're Nightwing or Robin or Batgirl or Batwing or Red Hood. But I digress. But he's usually very distant and very serious, and doesn't like to do relationships, like doesn't like to do like love relationships and marriage and all that, because he's a very he's a very hurt, very traumatized character. But in this movie, it it like it explains so well, like what would happen if Bruce Wayne actually found love and actually found happiness. Now, like, I recommend you watch this film because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I don't want to spoil it for you guys because I so this is spoiler warnings. Okay? This is spoiler warnings. For the rest of the videos, I might say some spoilers because I do not trust myself to try to explain this film without pointing out a couple of things in this film. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Okay? Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. I recommend you go watch this film. This, like, it's literally on Amazon for like 15 bucks, 10, 15 bucks. I'm telling you, the 10, 50 bucks will be worth it. Okay, go watch this film. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. Okay, before I go into spoiler territory. Okay, you can either turn off this video, go watch the movie, and then come back later and watch this video, or just get spoiled right now, which I don't know why you would, but I'm not judging. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Hopefully the people that haven't seen this movie they're watching this movie right now. So let's get into some spoilers territory. So in the movie, we got a character named Andrea Belmont. Okay. Of course, she's very similar to Bruce Wayne as well. Okay. So before Bruce Wayne even meets Andrea Belmont, like Bruce Wayne is just the same Bruce Wayne that everyone knows him well. Like he's just a normal, like he's like a rich, but he's like a normal kind of guy. He's not like a Tony Stark kind of rich guy. He's like, in this movie, he's kind of like a more humbled, more normalized. He's basically Michael Keaton's Batman, if I were to explain Bruce Wayne in this movie. But all that changed in this one scene in the graveyard. So, of course, Bruce Wayne is giving his respects to his family. And then all of a sudden, he sees a beautiful woman named Andrea Belmont, who also is visiting her mother who passed away. So she talks to her, but instead of feeling like regret and stuff like that, like she's just having a normal conversation with her deceased mother. And like Bruce Wayne sees this, and like both Bruce Wayne and Andrea Belmont has a great connection with each other, and it builds onto there in the movie. So Bruce Wayne, right? He found love, and of course, this is around a time where and this entire movie is also during year one of Batman. Well, actually, scratch that because it's this movie takes place in normal time as Bruce Wayne has established himself as Batman, but then we got this villain named the Phantasm, okay, who is also roaming the streets, killing people one by one. But that's another story in and of itself, which I will get to in a few minutes. But back to Bruce Wayne and Andrea Belmont. Like, Bruce Wayne actually falls in love with Andrea, and all this is being shown in a flashback. So, like, Bruce Wayne is like, and without a doubt, one of the most powerful and one of the greatest scenes in the history of not just Batman lore, but in pop culture as a whole. Bruce, it's raining time again. Bruce Wayne goes back to the graveyard, and is literally saying sorry and to Thomas and Martha Wayne at their grave. So he's at the graveside and he's saying that like he's literally saying sorry for being happy. Like he doesn't like he's saying that he doesn't deserve happiness, that he doesn't deserve love because like because it feels like to him that him loving someone and him being happy really like disrespects the deaths of Thomas and Martha Wayne. At least that's how Bruce Wayne perceives it. And it's such a powerful scene. It's like, oh my God, it's so dark, so good. And like, oh my God, like, it's without a doubt one of the most powerful scenes in the history of superhero movies and just movies in general because it really gives you like it gives you a unique perspective of where he's coming from because again Bruce Wayne is still scarred for life with what happened to his parents, so having finding his love and finding his happiness through Andrea, it really shows a unique perspective like like on why it's just so powerful. Like me literally explaining it cannot describe this like the scene. It's so good. It's so good. And then Andrea Belmont sees the entire thing and knows what Bruce is going through. And it really shows. It really shows. And it really shows like the connection between Bruce and Andrea. And I don't care what anyone says. Some people might say that Selena Kyle Catwoman is like the best lover for Batman or Talia al Ghul. No. Okay, in my opinion, Andrea Belmont is the greatest love interest to Batman, to Bruce Wayne in the history of comics. Okay, like she is beautiful. She's a unique character. She's interesting. Like not to say that Catwoman or Talia are cool or not interesting because they are very interesting characters. But you don't have to be like a superhero or a vigilante to be an interesting, complex character. And that's what Andrea Belmont is. She's just a normal woman, just seeing, just going through the exact same traumas as Bruce Wayne is. Like, it's so good. It's so freaking good. And the story just gets better and better from there. Like, I don't want to spoil it too much because I want you guys to watch the whole movie for yourselves, but it's so good. The story is so good. So good. And the other thing I want to talk about is the characters. Everyone in this movie has an important part to play. And I shit you not, Bruce Wayne, Batman, is not the overarching character. Like, he's not the most important character. He is an important character in the movie, but he's not the most important character. Because we had characters like Andrea Belmont. We got the Phantasm, who is interesting. We got like some gangsters who actually we I like some of these gangsters who are in this movie. The Joker makes an appearance. Like what's his name? Jim Gordon appears in this movie and a couple of other characters. Everyone has an important part to play in this movie. No one's in the sidelines. No one's in the back burner. There's no like one person is the most important character. That's it. No. Everyone in this movie feels important. Everyone in this movie has an important part to play, which I also appreciate about this movie because what a strong movie is that the main character is not always the focus all the time. Because if the main character is focused and is in every scene in every single movie, then we're probably going to get bored of the main character. That's why we got some strong side characters. But in this movie, everyone feels important. Not just Batman Bruce Wayne, but Andrea Belmont feels important. Jim Gordon has an important part in this story. The Joker has an important part in this story. Like, the Phantasm has an important part in this story. Everyone in this movie feels important, and that's what I appreciate. Everyone. Everyone has an important part to play, which I really, really appreciate. It's so well done. So well done. And the next thing I want to go over are the details. The details in this movie. Oh my God. Whoo! Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. The details in this movie is so good. Everything feels ironic. Every scene, every scene, every setting feels important, feels amazing, just feels so good. I'll give you one example. There is one scene in this movie where Batman and Bruce Wayne and Andrea Belmont are goes to this like museum of like it's like a futuristic museum, and like Bruce and Andrea are being happy. They're like enjoying the museum and all that jazz. And the museum is like it's colorful, it's bright, it's clean, it's futuristic, everyone's happy, there's a lot of happiness and hope. And like, guess where the final battle is? The same the same museum that Bruce and Andrea were happy on. But this time the museum is like dark and gloomy and it's destroyed and it's sad and it's sappy and everything that was clean is now turned into ash and like destruction. And oh my God, the details to that. It it's the best. It's one of the greatest form of storytelling ever. It really goes to show how important the settings are in movies and TV shows, because it really sets the tone on not just the characters but the overall story as well, because the museum from before showed happiness and hope for the future. But then later on in the third act, the museum is in decay and destruction and sadness, and all like hope is lost. And oh my God, it's just so well done. It's so well done, man. So well done. And the next thing I want to go over is the soundtrack. The freaking soundtrack, man. Oh my God. The soundtrack. The freaking soundtrack is so good. Of course, the person who made this soundtrack for this movie is none other than Shirley Walker. And my gosh, she did such a great job. She did such an incredible job. Like every musical number feels so important, and especially the beginning, it just gives you like like once you hear the music, like it gives you literal goosebumps. It gives you such literal goosebumps, man. And not many music does that. Not many music does that. But oh my gosh, Shirley Walker like hit a home run with the soundtrack. So good. So good. Like I can literally feel every musical number in this film. Every musical number is like, "Oh my God, it's so good." So freaking good, man. It's so freaking good. I'm telling you, if you guys haven't seen this movie before, you need to. You need to. It's so good. Like, like, just like literally me explaining it without giving non-spoils. Like, it's hard. It's hard because like the spoiled like even the stuff that is supposed to be secret in this movie is so good. It's so well done and it makes sense. It makes sense, man. It's so good. You guys need to get this movie. You guys need to get this movie. Now, and of course, we also got the cast of the movie, the amazing freaking cast. Okay, hold on. Let me put on the cast. Okay, because the cast did a great job as well. Of course, Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, of course, the greatest Batman and Joker of all time, come back to do this movie. Dana Dealey did a great job as Andrea Belmont. We also had Efren Zimmerbalitz Jr. I think that's his name as Alfred, basically. Of course, he was in charge of being Alfred for the entire animated series. Like all these people, Bob Hastings was Commissioner Gordon. It's like, oh my, like all these people, like the cast was just incredible in this movie. Everyone put up an amazing performance. All these people, like everyone felt important. Like every character that you saw on film, like did such an amazing job. The casting, like they did, like Warner Brothers did a great job casting for this film. It's so well done. So well done. And one other thing, it has one of the most underrated songs in the history of music. One of the most underrated songs ever. It is called I Never Even Told You. I Never Even Told You from Tina Carlini. I think that's her name. The song is so beautiful and it represents everything about this movie. Like it represents everything about this movie very well. Tina Carlini did a great job and this song needs more love. Okay, if you guys haven't heard the song, it is called I Have Never Even Told You from Tina Carlini. Okay, you can watch it on YouTube, and if you like it, it is on Spotify, and you can get it on your playlist. It is so good, and it represents everything about this film. Now, the final thing I want to talk about, I'm going to explain like the third act. The third act. So, this is major spoilers time. Major spoilers time. Okay? So, and guys, I don't know if I did a great job explaining it or not because literally me explaining it like is not doing it any justice. So before I explain like the third act, go get this movie and just watch it for yourself and then come back and see my like hear my opinions on the third act after you watch this movie. Okay, it's only 10-15 bucks on Amazon and it is so good. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 10 seconds, like no 15 seconds to like stop watching this video now, go watch this film, okay, and then come back and like and hear me talk about the third act. Okay, but for the people that have watched this movie, for the people that have seen Batman Mask of the Phantasm, then you are in for a treat. But for all the people that haven't seen it yet, go watch it because I want you to watch the third act because the third act is one of the best third acts in the history of cinema. So I'm going to give you 15 seconds. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Hopefully, all the people that never seen this movie is hopefully watching it right now. So let's talk about the third act. So in the third act, so remember like the scene where Bruce Wayne and Andrea Belmont are in the future museum and it shows happiness and hope and everything's clean and everything's nice. Well, in the final act, it takes place in the same museum, but it's like dark and sappy and sad and there's like no hope and stuff like that. Well, it it we have a showdown in this final act between Batman, the Joker, and Andrea Belmont. Yes, Andrea Belmont is in this showdown. You guys know do you guys know why? Because drum roll please. Andrea Andrea Belmont is the Phantasm. Andrea Belmont is the Phantasm. And it's showed very well in the third act. And it's been built up very, very well because, like, Andrea Belmont throughout the movie, right? They've been showing you can see the Phantasm killing like thugs and of all that throughout Gotham City. Well, it turns out that the Phantasm wasn't going after any random like thugs and stuff like that. They were going after she was going after the people who killed her father because the group ended up killing her father. So Andrea Belmont came back to Gotham City to get her revenge. Okay? So she gets her revenge, killing everyone but one man who was in the group. Who is that final man? The Joker. Yes, because apparently the Joker was a part of the gang that killed Andrea's father. So the Joker is the last man standing of the group. But the Joker is the Joker. He's not easy to take down. So Andrea knows where the Joker is. The Joker and by the way, in this movie, the Joker has been hired to kill both Batman and the Phantasm. So that's happening. So Belmont comes into the museum where the Joker is, and she's about to kill the Joker, but Joker puts up one hell of a fight. But then Batman comes along and tries to stop Andrea from killing the Joker because killing is bad. And Batman does not want her to go to the dark side. And it is so good. It's so, so good. Because even though Bruce Wayne and Andrea have very similar pasts, one, Bruce Wayne is trying to be the good guy, trying to be the person who is a vigilante but doesn't kill because he believes in second chances. Well, but Andrea doesn't believe in second chances and just kills all who has wronged her. And Bruce Wayne is trying to save Andrea from turning into the dark side. But then at the same time, the Joker is trying to kill both Andrea and Batman, and it's all being held at the museum where both Bruce Wayne and Andrea used to have hope and happiness, but now it's in despair and destruction. And oh my God, it is so good. It is so good. It is so good. And literally in the third act has one of the greatest Joker laughs of all time. So literally the museum is about to explode, right? And all three are hurt, and Andrea has the Joker by the tie, and everything's about to explode, and it looks like all three of them are about to die. So literally before it happens, literally the Joker does the best laugh I have ever seen in the history of the Joker. Like his laugh was so like ha ha ha. If this is gonna be my final day living, might as well go out with a bang. Like, oh my god, it is so good. And Andrea, and then Bruce Wayne telling Andrea, don't do this. But then Andrea saying, oh, it's too late. Goodbye, Bruce. And oh god, it's so good. It is so good. Literally, me explaining it does not do it any justice. You got to see it for yourself. You got to see it for yourself. And literally after that fight, like it goes to show that like Andrea is still alive, but like, well, obviously we don't know what happened to the Joker. But before she left, Andrea put her locket with a picture of the both of them in the Batcave, and you can see Batman for the first time. It's just he's like sad, depressed, and crying because he lost the love of her life. And like Andrea's is alive and in a cruise ship, and the guy is trying to like try to do the hits on her, but like she says, like he's like, do you want to be alone? But she's like, I am. And like, oh god. And then after that, it goes to this full transformation of him being Batman like forever, and like the music, and oh my god, it is so good. It's so good. And for the people that have seen this film, like you understand where I'm coming from with this. It's so good. So freaking good. So freaking good. Like the characters, the soundtrack, the unique story arc, the details, the third act, the fact that everyone was important. Like it really goes to show that this is without a doubt one of the best Batman film of all time, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, words are just words. Okay? Words are just words, and this is just me explaining it. But this movie is one of those movies where you gotta watch it for yourself. You got to watch it for yourself. Okay? Because for some people that like stayed and didn't want to watch the movie and just want to know what happened in the third act, like me explaining what happened in the third act does not do it justice. You guys need to watch it for yourselves. I'm telling you, it's only like 10, 15 bucks in Amazon, but it's the best 10, 15 bucks you have ever spent. This is without a doubt, in my opinion, the greatest Batman film in the history of Batman films, and one of the greatest superhero films, and one of the greatest films in general I have ever watched. Okay, so even for some people that stayed and like watch and like literally spoiled the third part for you guys, I still recommend you watch it because by execution, it's so good. It's so good. I'm telling you, 10, 15 bucks on Amazon. Okay. It's not expensive to get. And I'm telling you, it's the best 10, 15 bucks you have ever spent on your life. This is without a doubt. Like in my one of the greatest superhero films, one of the greatest films I have ever watched. And in my opinion, the greatest Batman film of all time, in my opinion. But that's all I got to say on that. Hopefully, this convinced you. And again, like, I recommend you watch. Like, for the people that haven't watched it before, I recommend you do. And for the people that have watched it, watch it again because why not? This movie's incredible. But that's all I got to say on that. But like again, I recommend you guys watch this movie. This movie is incredible. But yeah, that's all I gotta say on that. If you guys like this video, make sure you leave a like, make sure you leave a comment. Make sure if you guys like the content that I do here, usually I do wrestling, superhero subs from time to time, and just topics, just random topics in the world of pop culture, then that's basically my channel. And if you guys want to subscribe to that, make sure you do so. It's entirely free. And if you guys don't want to miss my videos, make sure you ring the notification bell so that way you don't miss any of my videos. But thank you so much for watching, and only 10, 15 bucks on Amazon. You guys gotta watch this film. So good. So good. But that's all I gotta say on that. Until next time, this is Gabriel, and I will see you next time in the asylum.